I made a Christmas video, and it was a good Christmas this year, and it had been a bad Christmas for the last several years. I remember lockdown Christmas with my family, and that was a good Christmas, because I remember before that was lockdown Thanksgiving, and we didn't let it affect us or stop us in any way. So Christmas was pretty much the same, and we all touched each other and hugged each other and did all the things that they said we weren't supposed to do. And, you know, because fuck them. But then after that, it was all bad Christmases until this year. And my last year was pretty awful. It was like a year of trials. I got kicked out of church on Easter Sunday. I got punched, I got kicked, I got spat on. Somebody came after me with an axe. I did an exorcism. A lot of screaming and yelling with people. And last year was just constant censorship on YouTube last year, 2024. I had a perpetual strike on my channel the whole year, and it was deliberate. I'd wait the 3-month period to have the strike removed, and then day of, they'd give me another strike on my channel. So I always had a strike on my channel, and it wasn't, there's something suspicious about it, I'll leave it at that. But this year was pretty good, better than last year. And Christmas was good. So I used to get excited about Christmas. I don't know, maybe this video will be useful to one person. So I used to like Christmas even into adulthood, and I had the same thing about summer. I love the summer, and I hated when it ends. That hasn't gone away. I love summer and the more sunlight and being outside, and I hate cold and gray. And you know, when I hear the kids have to go back to school, even though I haven't been in school for like, I don't know, decades. So when I hear that they have to go back to school, it does bother, like, I don't know, it's like, that sucks. Maybe it's just because kids, I don't believe, should have to go to school. I think it's terrible going to school the way it's organized. And it's, you know, if you look into the history of education, there's that Andrew Taylor Gatto book, the underground history of education, the underground history of compulsory education in America, or whatever it's called. It's thick. It's like a massive book, and it's worth a read. And I think you can just download a PDF file of it for free from his website, just so that people will have the information. So John Taylor Gatto, the underground history of education. Maybe you want to check that out. So I like decorating for Christmas. There was always somebody to help me decorate for Christmas. If it wasn't, you know, my little ones when they were all grown up, there was somebody else, and it was just a lot of fun. And like putting up the lights, and you know, the like set dressing. If you've been watching my YouTube vlogs or whatever you want to call them for years, you can go see old videos and see how much I got interested in set dressing. And you know, putting out a nativity or creche, however you want to call it. So even as an adult, I decorated for Christmas like a woman, whatever you want to say, whatever. And that was when I had short hair. So when Christmases started getting bad, and you know, sometimes there's different seasons in life. Maybe you'll hear this if you go to church or whatever, and you'll be talking to, you know, clergy, and they'll say, well, you know, this is the rainy season, it'll end or whatever, and they'll talk about different seasons in life and struggles and hard times. So I would say, like that second lockdown Christmas, or whatever you want to call it, where everybody was still scared, that was the beginning of Christmas getting pretty bad for me and my family. There was also all kinds of troubles within, you know, with family and friends, health problems and all kinds of other stuff, and it was just not good. And some of that I can't get into. It's just probably not appropriate. But I'd like to, because it's pretty crazy. It was like, you know, well, my life, I could speak for myself. My life kind of got turned upside down and inside out. And, I'm still here. I lived and everything. And so did everybody else. But this Christmas was unexpectedly good. I mean, there was a couple Christmases that were just canceled, so there really kind of was no Christmas for me. And, be careful what you ask for if you want things from God, because He may set you apart from the world. Did you ever hear this thing, you're in this world but not of it? Well, I think I can say that. But, and I also remember in going to church that I would be told by clergy who went to cemetery school that, this is just your dark night of the soul. And I'm like, how many nights does this last? This is a couple years of dark night of the soul. And I'm like, well, sometimes a season can last a long time. And I'm like, now I can see that these Eastern Orthodox guys just don't know what the hell that they're talking about. Except that maybe they did. So, I mean, they didn't know what they said, but I'm like, yeah, it's probably true. So I think God wanted to change me into something else. And maybe it's part my resistance and part just the way that it has to be. I had a rough couple of years. With it reaching like a fever pitch last year of getting kicked out of church, some family stuff that went down, some stuff with friendships that went down. And I think that is, you will hear this over and over again. Like, if you really want God, you're really seeking God. You'll even hear it in New Age circles, that if you're changing your life, you like, friends and family may fall away. And that definitely happened to me. And, there's different stages of it. Like, first you feel sad, then you feel disappointed, and you're like, when you come out of it, you're like, no, it had to be that way, and I don't want any of that stuff back. And it's in hindsight that we can see these things, but like when you're in it and you're having that years long dark night of the soul, or whatever those assholes wanted to call it. I'm not really big on clergy. Sorry, I haven't met any that I like, not a single one. It's always been a disappointment across the board with me and Eastern Orthodox. Me and Orthodox clergy it has been a huge disappointment. Only disappointment. So I've gotten more inspiration about God from YouTube videos than I have from men of the cloth and the flesh. I mean, there's still a couple guys who I want to knock their blocks off, like, whatever. So, I used to be really invested in Christmas, and it did make me think about the birth of our Lord and everything. And I would celebrate Eastern Orthodox Christmas, so I'm like, we celebrate the real Christmas, January 7th. Well, Jesus wasn't born then either, it's still too cold. So, what do they say about Jesus? That he was probably born either in early spring or September. I think it might have been early spring, because I had a strange dream once that doesn't mean anything, but it was a dream of rejoicing that Christ was born, and I think I had that happened on April 2nd. I know it's a weird thing to say, talk about my dreams, but I woke up from the dream and I was like, oh, it's way early, I'm gonna go back to bed. So I went back to bed and I had the exact same dream, that everything was rejoicing because Christ was risen from the dead. Did I say born? No, I did say born. No, that Christ was risen from the dead. I'm sorry, I had a couple of dreams about God stuff that were significant to me. But, what does it mean? Nothing. So I had a dream that Christ was born in either April 1st or April 2nd. And then I woke up from that dream and went back to sleep and had the same dream again. Did you ever have exactly the same dream? I've had reoccurring nightmares, but it's usually the same scenario, different dream. This was just like somebody, I watched the dream, and then I woke up, and then I went back to sleep, and they hit the play button and just played the video. Anyway, this is a weird video, huh? So So I used to stress, like a lot of people, about getting a thoughtful gift for people that I had to buy presents for Christmas. And I know the history of Christmas and that it's Saturnalian, it's a pagan holiday of orgies and the worship of Furcifer and all these, and Cernos, the horned god with antlers, and all the stuff about deer. And yeah, I know. But before I knew all that stuff, I really did want to get people thoughtful gifts for Christmas, because I would go to, I was like the same way for people's birthdays, especially with like the closest family, because I knew that people didn't really care about them on Christmas or their birthday, so they always get shipped presents. So I would stress out about being the one that got them like a thoughtful, meaningful gift that they would actually like. Even though I was pretty old, and it just shouldn't matter. Like getting presents on Christmas shouldn't matter, and like receiving them shouldn't matter. But to me, it mattered for getting people thoughtful gifts. And I even did some stuff that was probably inappropriate. Like there was people in my life where they didn't care about their kids at Christmas, so they'd say what they wanted and get excited about it, and then their parents didn't care about them at Christmas. So again, this is inappropriate, but I would do that, and I'm not rich or anything, but I'm like, I would find a way to make it work. So after Christmas, I'd always be like, okay, it's been broke, you know what I mean? Not broke, but like in the red, let's call it. And I don't think it's a wrong impulse to want to do good things for people. And I hated seeing the look on whether it would be children or adults' faces when Christmas came and went and nobody really cared about them, and you watch other people open presents, but you always get shit because nobody really thinks about you or cares about you. And I would stress about it. And then these last couple years, like I had one of my friend, I could just say like kind of like my best friend died. And it was just sudden. Like I talked to him. He said, I'm going on vacation, which meant staycation, which meant he was just going to check out. I wouldn't see him at church and all that stuff. And then when he died, like people were rude to him at church. People were rude to me at church because it's Orthodox church, and you know they're a bunch of liars, and they think that they're the best because it's Orthodox. But there's a lot of people that get excluded, and I would watch them. Like people would come to Eastern Orthodox church. And whether it was Russian, Ukrainian, because I've been to both, and you know, for a long time, and they would just, you know, if they didn't want somebody around, they would just give them the cold shoulder. I've seen it, and then people were like, fuck it, I'm not gonna come here anymore. These people are jerks. And I was like, yeah, they are. You know, but I fit in enough that I kept coming, and you know, they were nice enough to me. Like he can stay, but I had a friend like that too, and he you know, like he. Thousands of dollars tabernacle. He paid for the tabernacle, and you know they'd ask him for money and stuff. And then but they treated him like shit, and because he was like on the spectrum, like before they he's old, but you know like there's something he was a little bit off, you know. Now they call that on the spectrum. But I miss him anyway. When he died, like nobody cared. Like they didn't show up for his funeral or anything. I'm like, that guy bought your tabernacle, you scumbags. And then this is the same church I got kicked out of, and above where I sang in the choir, the roof is coming down. It's gonna cost 90 grand to fix the roof. Then I got kicked out of church, and then all the parents pulled their kids out of Sunday school so that there's no Sunday school at the church I used to go to. And the reason I get kicked out of church, if I haven't said it too many times, and I have, is I inquired about exorcism, and I watched the demons jump from me to the pastor, and then we almost got into a fist fight, and I felt hands on my shoulders, so we didn't get into a fist fight, and I told him to go to hell, and he said, we don't want you here anymore. And I'm like, who's we? It's me and you alone in a church library. Who's we? I don't know, maybe the demons in him. The guy was motivated. He wanted to be metropolitan or the archbishop, probably both. And he was on the news all the time, so I think he got a big head, and I think, you know, like, he didn't believe that there's ever a need for exorcism. And then the husband of the woman I was inquiring exorcism for. Her husband came to my house with an axe. And that's not because I was having an affair with the woman or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. It was just this bitch was a witch and she needed exorcism. And I've told that whole story before. And then I did exorcism on the husband. And then it got better for them in time. But not before a whole bunch of other misfortunes befell that family. But this year was pretty good. It was actually a fantastic Christmas, and if you can look up the definition of the word fantastic, so good that as to be unbelievable. So I used to get really invested in Christmas, and then at the same time I was like kind of down on Christmas and kind of got kicked out of a family Christmas or three for speaking up. I mean, I have video, I think it's coming out next year, because I have videos stacked into June. But I got kicked out of a couple Christmases because I said, do you ever see one of my videos I keep doing called Why Does Everybody Kill the Messenger? So sometimes you have to be, sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I've had to bear bad news. I'm like, I don't want to say this because nobody is saying this, but if I don't say it, it's going to have a negative effect and people are going to hurt. So I'll say it, which means I'm going to catch shit. I'm going to kind of be in a doghouse, even though none of it's my fault. But I'm going to be treated like shit just because I'm the bearer of bad news, which is why they have that phrase, don't kill the messenger. Because historically, if you brought the king or the queen bad news, they're going to kill you. So, you know, everybody thinks they're kings and queens nowadays, right? Whether they recognize it or not. So I've done this so many times I got used to it. It makes me think of Bible guys like St. Stephen comes to mind, or Stephen, however you pronounce it. Where he just told them, he talked about Jesus and they stoned him to death. He's an important saint. A lot of times you'll see him on the iconostasis in the Eastern Orthodox Church. And you're like, why is St. Stephen there? It's like, well, he's kind of an important guy. He's kind of like heralding Jesus right before he came. And then there was Saul, you know, watching everybody's clothes while they killed him. And then that guy became St. Paul. Saul, who became Paul. Another important guy. So, man, what is God setting me up for? I've had to do this over and over again, and it's thankless. It's like, I have to do it, it's the right thing to do. And it really has been part of the trouble that I've had over the last couple of years in terms of fights with family, where I'm like, nobody's dealing with this, nobody wants to hear this, but I have to talk about it, because if I don't, there's going to be consequences. And admittedly, even in 2025, like, I've had like some physical altercations because, like, I don't get off on being the bearer of bad news. Like, guess what? I know you don't want to hear this, but, you know, it's never like that. It's always like, you know, nobody wants to talk about this. I have to, because if it doesn't, it's going to hurt you. Here's the consequences. Sometimes money was involved, like, this is going to cost you financially. You can't let this, you have to change this. Your home, like, I may have talked about this in other videos that are no longer up, but, like, I was like, you know, I gotta be careful how to talk about this. Demons like filth, and there's people I knew that lived like hoarders, and it was all, they were just like piling garbage inside their house. I'm like, these people are under spiritual warfare, they're under oppression, and it's demonic stuff because they're doing witchcraft and sorcery, and they're turning their house into a demon nest with filth and rot. And I could have really got myself into trouble, but I started like cleaning somebody's house, and I just kept fighting with these people because I knew that if I didn't, nobody else would care, and I was just watching their lives be destroyed, and they were involved in witchcraft stuff. So I just kept, and without even hearing from God, like, I would pray to God for these people, and I didn't hear anything from him because I'm so dull. I don't put it on God, I put it on me, my inability to hear. But I just kept I don't know what to say, like putting pressure on people. And when I saw them, I'd bring it up and I'm like, do you want me to come? Do you want me to help you clean? And then sometimes when they weren't around, I would just, like, I don't know if you call it breaking and entering, to go into somebody's house and throw garbage away, but they probably could have put that one on me. So, so I got them to get a dumpster, and it changed their lives for the better. And then they started doing home renovations and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is it. But, you know, I do really believe, when I tell you, you watching, to pray and just don't stop praying. And, you know, when God says, bless those who curse you and those who hate you and spit upon you and all these things, I mean it, because I kept doing that, and these MFs hated me. And I was like, no, I got to do the right thing by God. And God wouldn't, I didn't hear nothing from God. It felt like I was leaving messages on his answering machine. And I'm going to cry when I'm telling you this, but I would just keep calling God, and he just didn't want to talk to me. And then I went to talk to YouTube's favorite exorcist guy, and he wouldn't help me. And then he just started talking, telling stories about himself, and I'm like, hey, I'm inquiring about help for other people. I had to do exorcism. I'm not an exorcist. I didn't know what to do about it. And then he tells his story about exorcism and how nobody wanted to help him learn how to do exorcisms. And now, you know, he makes all these YouTube videos and shit. And it's like, it's hard to like that guy, because I inquired for help for other people, and he just didn't want to help me. Maybe there's something wasn't right with my spirit or whatever. Probably, honestly. So he's like, I'm not gonna help that guy, and he didn't. But the help that I wanted wasn't for me. It was to help me to help other people. Because I'm like, how do I do? Am I doing it right? Do I need to do like a follow-up exorcism? And so my 2024 was pretty awful. And I guess now that I think about it, 2025 wasn't so great, but it got better. It was better than 2024, that's for sure. So this Christmas was pretty great. I have a whole separate video on that, which, I don't know, it's just like it's like more like a vlog. I mean, I guess this is like a vlog too. Which, when I say vlog, I kind of say it with contempt, like it's kind of lame. But, like, I remember the early days of vlogging, which is just Facebook, where people would make little short videos, and then they wanted to tell you everything about their lives, or they'd type it in too. And I'm like, I don't like Facebook. I don't want to know this guy telling me every part of his day, or she's telling me all this stuff about themselves, and then people get mad at me because I don't send them llamas in Farmville or however that shit works, because I don't play games. I didn't want to join anybody's mafia on the mafia game. I haven't had a Facebook account since, I think, 2011. But there was all kinds of stuff about Facebook I didn't like back then when I ended it, and I'm like, I just can't be here. And also, people were getting mad at me. You didn't read my wall. I sent you the link and you didn't do the thing. And I'm like, yeah, it's just a constant nuisance. I don't want to read somebody's asshole's flowery words about a new age thing that he found online and pasted, and he thinks I should read it. And people were sending me stupid shit. And on my phone too, it was the same stuff with my phone. I had somebody that was writing me poems, and my phone didn't do texting, so she was writing me all these poems and sending them, and I never got like a single one, because I didn't. If I had texting on my phone, I didn't know how it worked, so I never got all those love letters or whatever it is she was sending me, and then that was not good. That was like, you know, beginning and the end of that. So whatever that was. But you know, if you had a pretty girl who was writing you poems on her lunch break and sending you poems about you and encouraging words every day, wouldn't you want to read them? Yeah. Well, anyway. So, I learned over, like, I would say like the last 3 years or whatever. Or maybe it was just like I learned more stuff about the history of Christmas because I looked into it, because I was kind of down on Christmas because I kind of got kicked out of it, so I didn't decorate. And then I learned about its pagan origins and all this stuff, and Saturnalia and Nimrod's birthday, and Jesus wasn't born in, you know, December or January. And I was also, you know, being seeing through that just because church is Eastern Orthodox doesn't make it great. No matter what YouTuber wants you to be Orthodox doesn't mean shit. Having supped with hierarchs, bishop and archbishop both, and being really way disappointed and just like, at the cowardice and at the rudeness and like all that stuff. I go look at my disappointments with Eastern Orthodoxy. That video, all that shit is in there. If you go watch it, I know it's coming. It's my video that's scheduled for December 29th. It's scheduled. That's a Monday video, and it's lengthy. So all the stuff I've touched on in here, that's the whole breakdown of people denying almsgivings on the grounds of the church to homeless women and children at Eastern Orthodox Church. Anyway, I say it with contempt because I have it for them. So forgive them. I have. They want God. It's just your faith is weak, and you weakened my faith. It's your fault. I'm blaming you. No, it's only strengthened my faith. Whether he talks to me or not, I pray. I pray for myself, for other people. And then people that don't even like me, people that speak ill about me, people who have kicked me and spat on me and punched me, people who came after me with axes. I had somebody in the summer, I'm not kidding, I had a child in my arms, and somebody flipped out, and they were trying to pull, and I'm trying to like protect a child, and somebody's like grabbing the back of my head, and just they went under, because I have long hair, they just went under the back of my head and grabbed a hold of my whole head, and were just trying to, I had a sore head for a month. That was in either the end of summer or early September, and I had a sore head for a month. Just from having they had a hold of, they had the whole back of my head. This is a man was doing this to me like a bitch. A man like a bitch was like trying to pull out my hair. And yet I say that this year was better than last year. It was. So as this year of 2025 comes to a close, I'm just gonna have to throw this video up between now and the end of the year. Maybe this will be my New Year's January 1st video or something. Because I have a bunch of videos stacked. I have like 3 a week into January, and some weeks there's like 4 or 5 videos a week. I should do a video on how I how I do videos. I would just say focus on making YouTube videos. Don't focus so much on live streams. Like anybody can sit down, record a video, and then when you have time, you can put them up on the weekends or whatever. I think some people are focused on live streams, and I'm like, yeah, they're good if you want super chats and stuff, but if you want to be consistent and putting out content and stacking it, have a setup that you can just sit down and turn on the camera and go, where you don't have to do a whole bunch of bullshit. This Christmas was really great, because even after it was over, I still had like whatever Christmas spirit I had in the past had been knocked out of me, and it kind of like came back. Like, I don't know what Christmas spirit is, but I just meant like there was something that I had lost, that I went through a period of darkness that for years, and now on the other end of it, I can see the things that are beautiful about what we call Christmas, even though some people are like, well, I don't celebrate that anymore, and I don't go to church and all this stuff. They want to be down on it. That's a thing that you come out of. We're supposed to be looking towards the good in man, and sometimes in December that does come out with Christmas. And that we would celebrate our Lord's birth, even though we don't know when he was born. I think he appreciates that. And I said in other videos where I talk about, in other videos of December 2025, where I talk about Christmas, I say God's not sending anybody to hell for celebrating Christmas and setting up a nativity, even though that's idolatry, and I don't think we're supposed to depict him as a baby, or his mom and his stepdad and all that stuff. But I think that God, he has to get get through to us any way he can, and if he has any kind of a little foothold in, if us celebrating Christmas is a foothold for our salvation, I think God will take it and use it, and he knows where we're coming from. He knows we've been deceived. And I do believe we're in Revelation 20. So, Satan was loosed from his chains to deceive the nations, and God knows that we're deceived, but, and yet we still strive for him. And, you work with what you can, right? So I look at that as like God will, he'll use what he can use to get through to us so that we will be saved. A lot of beautiful stuff does happen at Christmas. Like Christmas time, if you think about it, may be the only time of year where some people are charitable or do any kinds of almsgiving that could be put in the good book for them, in terms of food drives and like it's that time of year, and then people will donate stuff like toys for tots, all these programs they have, for almsgiving programs. And maybe it's toys, and it's like, really, is that almsgiving? Give kids plastic crap? Well, I don't know. You look at kids that have toys and kids that don't have toys never get nothing, and then at Christmas they can. Now it's some kind of thing called Angel Tree, and the only way I know about Angel Tree is because some of the YouTubers I watch made videos complaining about it. I like to watch videos made by people that don't have my viewpoints or share my opinions, because I want to know what they think, especially if they get a lot of views. I'm like, is this how a lot of people see things? So I want to see those videos. So maybe I'm not naming names. Maybe I could, maybe I should. But I watch or listen to, like a lot of other people. We're not really paying attention to it. We're doing 7 other things, and we're listening to content. And then we look if we want to see the outrage. Oh, she's in a bikini, I want to see that, or whatever. So, and you shouldn't. But, so yeah, I kind of want to, like even Christian podcasts where I don't agree with their Christian viewpoint, I want to know what they think about it. So, and sometimes it's just as much as like 2 minutes. Okay, I get the gist of it. Sometimes you don't have to watch the video. You just look and see what a channel has made, and you can watch the thumbnail. You can look at the thumbnail and you're like, I don't need to watch that video. I know what it's about. It's gossip. Now I know what the gossip is. Or, from a thumbnail. Or nobody reads descriptions. I always try to write interesting descriptions, even if they're short, for my videos. And I'm like, nobody reads these. I read descriptions for videos before I watch them. Not every one. Oh, there's Papa Meat, I'm just going to watch it. Maybe I shouldn't watch his gnarly videos, but they're pretty, a lot of people watch them. He didn't get the, it's not nobody watching those videos. So, yeah, so this Christmas, even after it ended, I was with family, like visiting. It's still part of the holiday. So I was visiting and hanging out with grandchildren, and we're just watching on their Roku TV Christmas, like pop music Christmas songs, and all the Mariah Carey stuff's in there, and the Brian McKnight stuff, and there's some Whitney Houston in there, and all these things. And I saw what Ariana Grande looked like when she was healthy, before you can see her shoulder bones and her clavicle or whatever it's called. It's sad. That's not funny at all. She got MK Ultra. That's what happens if you do Wizard of Oz. Look out. So what's gonna happen? I heard somebody's doing a Wizard of Oz movie. They're gonna do the same thing to them. You have a sore rabbit hole. So, where am I going with all this? Oh, so Christmas was over, and because these last couple Christmases have been pretty awful, this year, even though Christmas was over, I was hearing all the Christmas music and seeing these old Christmas videos, like the Wham video where they're all gay for each other in a cabin. That was funny as shit. I had never seen that video before, and I'm like, these guys aren't looking at the girls, they're looking at each other. And that's like, it's implied in the video, and I'm like, oh man, look at what these gay dudes are trying to get away with in the 80s. last Christmas, and they're in a cabin full of women, but all the guys are like obviously gay dudes. They can't hide it. You just look at them and you're like, they're all gay. This is all Wham and all their friends, and they're like, geez, if these girls weren't here, then it would be a great Christmas. Whatever. So, and I can't think of all the other Christmas. Paul McCartney, the Waitresses, all these things. Remember the Waitresses? New Wave Christmas. There's a John Lennon song too. What was it called? If This Was Christmas or whatever. Sure it has some evil message in it. It's probably about child sacrifice. I don't know. Anyway, it kind of gave me warm and fuzzies because that was a lot of that music I remember, even if it's like I'm not really into Mariah Carey Christmas stuff. But Christmas was already over. It was the 28th, or no, when was it? I don't know. It was like whenever it was on the weekend, and I was visiting family, and the whole just hours of playing all the Christmas songs you remember, and then weird ones from like the 70s that I never heard of. I'm like, look at this weird British band. What the hell? Look at these guys. Look at their faces. And weird shit like that. And Dean Martin and all the rest. I'm trying to think of, I don't know why you don't care. Probably don't give a shit about Christmas classics, but you know what they are. Oh, here's Hall & Oates singing Jingle Bells. I remember that one. So it was a very MTV, post-Christmas holiday hangout with family, and I'm playing with my grandkids. And it really made me feel good about Christmas. And it really gave me some kind of, like how I used to feel about Christmas. Like something was taken away from me. God took me apart from the world. I lost a lot of people. But then the people who, that stuck around after God cut people out of my life, including, people I went to church with, and some people died. And here I am with, what's left after God is like molding me and shaping me into probably someone more useful to Him. Good. Let's keep going, Lord. Really. But He gave me back what was missing. I don't know how else to quantify it other than that. Surely our Lord is gracious and merciful, because without His grace and His mercy, we just don't stand a chance. The attack that we're under, the spiritual warfare that people are under, that they don't even know, and they're not even looking for God. But we're in it, and but if you pay attention to those things, you'll notice it, and it will increase, and you'll have to change. And I got sober because I wanted God, not like my life became a mess, and then in an effort to get sober I leaned on God, and then I found Him. No, I was looking for God, and how it was with me, it was like, no, I want God. So God's like, okay, these things have to go. And they went. And I feel like He made it easy for me because He knew I was looking for Him. And I was having too much fun on drugs and on weed and booze. I was really enjoying myself. It was good times. But I was like, no, that's a barrier. That's a barrier between me and God. It has to go. And I don't want any of that stuff back. And when I did that, I don't know how this is how spiritual warfare can work sometimes, or maybe all the time, I'm not sure. But the more I strove for God, the more difficult my life got. So it wasn't like giving up drinking and weed was easy, but life got hard. So it would have been nice to have those things to self-medicate. But it was, you know what I mean? Life got hard because I was seeking God. And not because I was giving up booze and weed. That was kind of easy to do. And I quit smoking weed years ago, a couple of times. and going through there's withdrawals from that. Like giving up alcohol is easy, I would just stop. But weed, there'd be withdrawals, and I remember having like 3 months of withdrawals where I just couldn't sleep at night, and insomnia, and it was all just the withdrawals from weed, which is a real thing. And I didn't just say that, other people will tell you, but it can be pretty intense, and it can last longer than 3 months. But I remember just having to remind myself continually, yeah, I smoked weed for like a decade, and now I quit. So it was 3 months of just feeling awful and like a zombie, and feeling high a lot of the times, like not being high, but I don't know how it works when it comes out of your system. But like I just remember thinking like, I haven't smoked weed in weeks and I still feel high, and I would wake up and I would just, I don't know if it was like, they say that THC stays in your brain for a month. Man, I had a lot of can of butter recipe things. I used to make it, and dude, like, that was pretty rough 3 months. So, but this, this last time, which is, I'm done with everything. Like I've quit all that stuff. It was kind of easy to quit, and I think it was because as I was quitting, I was praying to God the whole time, and I think He made it easy for me. God can take an addiction from a person like that. Like you could get an exorcism. I've never done it, but you could get an exorcism from someone, and I do believe that if God can work with that person, somebody can have a horrible addiction to like meth or something, and that can be pulled out, I do believe, through an exorcism, and it's just gone. All right. So I don't know. I'll let you know if I ever get there. If I ever, being able to do that for other people. I want to do those things. These signs shall follow those who believe. But I did have a pretty great, like something from Christmas that was gone because I was down on it because I kind of got kicked out of it. Which is a relief. It was a thing where with my family we agreed that, okay, there's little ones. Christmas does not have to be about us stressing for presents for each other and the economy and all this stuff, which is all true things. Let's just make it about the little ones. And boy, it was nice because all that pressure leading up to Christmas isn't there, and the pressure of like, did you get a good present or not? And there's no me having to feel bad about like somebody re-gifted me a thing. Like I got that this year. Somebody gave me, I should just get it. Somebody gave me an espresso press, and I'm like, this is lame. It's like basically, it's just, hey, do you want to pour boiling hot water over a coffee filter with coffee in it? I can do that with my broken coffee machine. So somebody gave me an espresso press, even though we agreed not to do presents, but somebody gave me something anyway. And I opened it up, and it's a re-gift because they didn't clean it out very good. They got it, they didn't like it, they used it, it's a pain in the ass. So then they washed it up and re-gifted it to me, but when it dried, you can see the soap film and the coffee stains. Unless it came to them from like wherever like Amazon or wherever they got it from, and they bought somebody else's used coffee machine. I'm not using that. So, I mean, I'm not really pissed off about it, but I was going to use it, and then I kind of was pissed because like, wait a minute, this has been used already. Somebody washed this, so either it's a re-gift or like somebody returned a thing to Amazon or wherever it came from, and then somebody bought it and then gave it to me, and I have somebody else's used espresso machine. And it's really a pain in the ass. If I wanted to use it all, I mean, I could go to Goodwill and get a used coffee machine. If I wanted to use, I could buy a new coffee machine if I wanted one. I'm just saying, coffee's not such a big deal. But it was really great, and I was appreciating stuff that I had, because I always talk about I don't listen to music. I don't watch movies. And every now and then I see a movie. Like I saw movies over Christmas at people's houses. I look at all my Stranger Things reviews. I saw them. I saw them over the holiday. And I don't have a Netflix subscription. So I heard a lot of Christmas music, and it was like popular secular Christmas music. And And I liked it, and I had fun, and it didn't like take me away from God. It's like God took me away from the world, and in a little bit of a way, I think he said, here, like maybe I was on the bad path, and he's like, here, you need to be cheered up. Here, you can go back to some of this stuff now, and in a different light, and I can appreciate it, even though I can appreciate what's good about it, and there's good things about Christmas that I probably haven't even articulated enough of in this video. But as I said, sometimes this is the only time of year that people are, a lot of people, it's the only time they're charitable. It's the only time they do almsgiving. That's for the salvation of their souls, that they think about doing stuff out of the goodness of their heart. That it's a lot of people, they do turn towards God, and they celebrate the birth of our King and our Savior, the Messiah, the real Messiah, Jesus. And that we would put our thoughts on Him, that people would get together. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of things anymore where people get together with each other, and they're trying to take us away from Christmas too. Living in a pod and eating the bugs, probably, and Christmas alone is what they want for us. It's divide and conquer strategy, so that the idea that we would still get together, even though we know that underneath it, as YouTube assholes would point out, which I'm one of, that it's a Saturnalia and blah blah blah. I mean, I don't want kids to celebrate Santa Claus. You should tell them that that's a lie. You know, if they're your children, and you should stop the Santa Claus shit. Talk it over with your spouse or whatever. Like, we're gonna end the Santa Claus stuff, and we'll still do Christmas and presents and everything, if you want to do it. And some people would say, you know, like, I tried to convince myself it's a relief I don't have to do this Christmas stuff, because I kind of was alienated from Christmas. I mean, grandkids still get presents, all those things, but this year was like healing. So get ready, because 2026, there's a lot of crazy shit that they want to do to us, especially if you live in America. They want to do stuff to America for the whole world to see. You know what I mean? To have a negative effect on like the whole world, probably. So just because they plan this shit for a long time doesn't mean they have to get their way. That's what prayer's for. We're supposed to pray for their evil plans to fail. So keep praying and don't stop, because that's what I did, and I think, you know, it has borne fruit, and it may be the most important fruit, which I would say would be fruit of the Spirit. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying. God knows it. And I know from all my years in New Age stuff, people would say, don't say try, say do. And I'm like what? Like Yoda's that thing? Sorry, the camera cut out. I'm not editing it. So what? Like Yoda, you don't try, do, or whatever? Okay. It's some kind of New Age maxim that I've been hearing for years from people that were in and out of my life, and they were like, don't say try. You have to like do the thing. Whatever, shut up. I'm making an effort. I want God. I want my prayers to be effective to help those for whom I pray. I want to do more of the things that I've done. There's a couple people in the past, there's a couple people I wanted to lay hands on to beat their ass. Now there's a couple people in my life that I want to lay hands on so that God can use me as His conduit to heal them. That's way better, right? It's some kind of improvement. Sometimes it seems like our life is horrible, but if you look back on the past, you can see that there is improvement in life, but it just doesn't look like it. I don't know how to put that, how to say that. Well, whatever. Sometimes the good things or changes in our life come slowly, and you're like, you still want to say that your life is horrible and it's shitty, but if you really look at it, you're like, well, I've come a long way from where I was before. It's just not as fast as I want. I think sometimes we have, I know me, I can speak for myself, right? I have this struggle with impatience. I was used to like wanting my way and being willful and then getting my way, and not everything works that way. Some things take time, and I've tried to be willful, and all it did was piss people off. Like, I think in terms of helping people, where I was like, if I can just explain a thing and be truthful and explain what the truth is, then they'll see it, and then it'll get better, and I won't worry about them. And instead what happens is, maybe this has been your experience, instead what happens is you say the thing that's hard to say, and then they just think you're an asshole, and then it takes time for them first they hate you for a while, then they'll speak ill of you to other people because they don't want you to know, they don't want other people, their dirty secret. So they talk shit about you so that nobody will believe you. Oh yeah, Scott, yeah, he's not really a nice person. You probably shouldn't talk to him because I don't want him talking to you about stuff that he knows that are my dirty secrets. I know about that shit too. So, or if something nice happens to me and they're like, no, he doesn't deserve it. They just want to like trash it or wreck things for me because I said, hey, you got to change the thing. Like, this isn't okay. You can't do this, and here's why. And it's going to hurt you, and it's going to bite you in the ass. And then it does bite them in the ass, or they think about it for a while. I never get the apology, but I do see people do the stuff that I told them. How much better would everybody's life be if they would just do everything that I fucking told them to do? Am I wrong about that? Wouldn't it be easier if everybody would just do what I say? No, obviously not. But sometimes, like I know what I'm talking about because I've had it done to me, where somebody said something that was truthful to me, and I didn't want to hear it, and then I just hated that person because of what they said, but they were right. But I would turn them into a villain because I didn't like what they had to say. And so I know I've done that, and if I've done it, it's a very common thing. Anybody could do it because I am not special, and neither are you. To God we are, but and to maybe there's people in our lives that we're special to, but you know what I mean. Like, nobody's really that special. We have the same complex of human emotions. So if a thing's relatable to me, it's probably relatable to a lot of other people. I don't know that I have special emotions that other people don't have. That's bullshit. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful and useful. Even though I kind of feel self-conscious about these vloggy ones, I'd rather just tell you about, look at the MK Ultra messages and Stranger Things and whatever. But, I don't know, it felt like, I don't know, do you know who Emmett Fox is? He talked something about Dark Night of the Soul and how, I think it is Emmett Fox, I can't remember, it doesn't matter, but this idea that you have a period of darkness in your life, and then when you come out of it, you can, like, it ruins everything, and you're not sure what you think, and then when you come out of that, you can go back to the things that used to be in your life before, the way that you used to be, but you can see them now that there's a light shined on them. Like, you spend a period of time, dark night, you spend a period of time in darkness, and when you come out, you can go back to things that you had turned away from as you were heading into this dark night of the soul. But then, when you're coming out of it, you can return to those things again and return to worship and to the world at large, and you see it differently, and you can see the good things in it and the value in it and what other people get out of it, as opposed to just shunning and scorning everything. I see a lot of baby Christians, especially with these ortho brozos, I call them, where they're very judgmental and very mean to people and critical, and that's not what Jesus would do. He'd be nicer about, he'd find a different way to say those same things, or maybe recognize it's not time to say that, or that you shouldn't be saying those things now because the way what you're going to say is too mean. So, words to live by are, what would Jesus do? And if he wouldn't do it, then don't you do it, right? As if you needed to hear shit like that from me. So anyway, I'm right? So, yeah, I guess I just wanted to humble brag that I had a pretty good Christmas this year, and I can appreciate it in a way that it just wasn't possible. And then when I heard other people like breaking down Christmas and that it was pagan, I was like, good, then who needs it? I don't need it either. I got kicked out of Christmas, and God gave it back to me, and he said, no, it's not what you think. Look at Christmas the way that I look at it. And I couldn't have done that of myself. I of myself can do nothing, but with God's help, all things are possible. So maybe there's hope for me. And if there's hope for me, then maybe I could help out at least one or two other people somehow, in real life and maybe even in YouTube videos. What is it about my channel that I don't want to do a video on this anymore, but maybe I could just for myself, even if I never put it up, where I just went through all the stuff that YouTube messed with my channel. It's significant. I've done these videos before over the years complaining about like stuff YouTube has done, but if I put it all together in one video, like I'd probably have to have notes. My channel really is significantly messed with, and I can't figure out why it is the things that I see on YouTube, why my video is so messed with the way that it is, so specifically messed with. I know other people their channels get messed with like, you know, the same things that happened to me. But I'm like, you know, why can't I just make these, like, why do these stupid videos I make, they're not really very good. It's just always the same thing. It's my head and my hands and my heart and curtains. Like, why can't I talk about the shit that I talk about? Like, why? Because they tell you to pray to God? Because they tell you that you can pray that BlackRock, Blackstone, Vanguard be dismantled, that you can pray for the dissolution of the Bilderberg group, that you can pray for the salvation of their souls, but that the evildoers would be exposed and not get away with this. You pray for the plans for the destruction of all the bug breeding facilities that they want to make us eat. Pray for the failure of the plans for Plandopolis mega smart cities. Pray for the plans for, you know, that God would cut them off, that their blood sacrifices no longer have an effect to hurt them, and when they try to do these evil blood sacrifices and offer up children, that it would hurt them and burn them and the demons that they do these things to get earthly stuff from. And that, you know, like that, pray that God will cut them off. You know, that I would tell you to refer to the Psalter of how to pray and what you can pray for, and that you can and should pray big. Not just for yourself and people in your life. Yes, do that. But also for the whole world. Pray for the nullification of the effects of the evil, harmful things that they put into people's blood. Pray for the nullification of any and all harmful effects that may have been caused by that, what people did in their ignorance and what people did so that they could help others that God knows about anyway. Prayers matter. They're significant. So keep praying and never stop, because the globalists don't want you to pray, and a lot of people don't even believe we live on a globe anymore. And I say it doesn't matter. Whatever the truth is, I want to know that, and I want them to stop lying to us. But you know, pray for pray. There's just, you're limited only in your own creativity by what you pray for, and you know. And it's friendship with God. God wants us to have friendship with Him. How do we be friends with God when He has everything to offer us and we have nothing to offer Him? It's Matthew 25:33-46. Well, I can't believe I remembered that. But it's important. Go read Matthew 25:33-46. This is how you establish friendship with God. Love your neighbor as yourself. In short. And that's even difficult for me. God's teaching me how to do that, because even though my neighbors aren't really close, one of them is a real pain in the ass. So I'm learning it. I'm praying blessings on a guy who's like a curse and a blight. So, you know, pray to God, never stop. Honestly, sincerely, and truly. Bless those who curse you. If only to heap coals on their head, which is what it's doing. But also maybe like, please, Lord, make this asshole have a change. Don't say asshole to God, but He'll know that you're thinking it anyway. It's friendship with God. If you can't say things like that to Him, then who can you? You know, but He doesn't want us to use coarse language or, you know, pray to Him and use curse words, right? So pray to God, please, Lord, this guy really is a jerk to everybody. Pray that he would have a change of heart, because he has a tiny Grinchy heart. So maybe you can get through to this guy like that Grinch that stole Christmas. I don't know. So anyway, keep praying and never stop. there are people who know how things work in the world that, a wealthy elite whose fortune shaped the fates of nations. They do not want you to pray to God and ask for help. And they really hate prayer groups where people get together and pray the same things. Power of prayer. Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered together in prayer, God is present. Yeah, it's dangerous. Just 2 people together, 3 people together, God's present, hearing your prayers. There's a lot of people get together for prayer groups online and they have prayer streams. Come on. That's not for nothing, especially if the guy who's leading the prayer means it. And even if he isn't, there are people in those prayer streams that do mean it, and God hears them. So keep praying and don't stop. Amen to that.